Welcome to Season 4 of You're Not Alone with Townsend. On this podcast, I'll be sitting down with guests from all over the world to discuss everything under the umbrella of mental health, diagnoses, sharing stories of resilience, medical advice, and even getting some tips and tricks from licensed counselors. The goal of this podcast is to teach us how to understand others, ourselves, and help spread love and light, one episode at a time. Please make sure to like and follow this podcast, and if you'd like to see the videos of these conversations, hop on over to my YouTube channel, TownsendTmusic YouTube, where you can find the podcast and my latest music. This podcast is run solely by supporters and listeners just like you. So if you'd like to help keep this podcast and project going, please consider hopping on patreon.com/TownsendTmusic to be part of the team. You'll also find extra content and questions with each and every guest. Let's hop in. What is up, guys? Welcome to this episode of You're Not Alone with Townsend. I, of course, am your host, Townsend. This episode, we're going to be talking about something super interesting. We're going to be talking about a medication and an unfortunate series of events that it caused, but just spreading awareness about it and things that can end in such grief. We've got Miss Jess here chatting with us today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it is such a pleasure and so strong to be able to get on here because we're going to be talking about your kiddo, your son.
Yeah, my baby.
Yeah, your baby, yeah. And we'll hop into that just shortly, but I always like to let my guests kind of introduce themselves. So where you're located, your job, whatever you want to share with my listeners.
I am Jessica Coates. I am 47. I just turned 47.
Oh, no, you don't even know. I hate that.
I know.
I've gotten to that age where I'm like, how old am I?
Yes, it happens. And you just don't even realize it. You got to update what you say.
Yeah, you update it every year.
So 47, I have 4 kids. My 3 oldest are adults now. And then we have Parker, who was 15. But I live right outside of Nashville and with my husband and our dog, Nash. I work in Nashville as well. So commute and work from home some.
Love it. I love it. So many talented people in the Nashville area. Are you like one of those, we talked about this earlier, are you one of those like super secret songwriters?
No, I'm
that writes bangers on the radio and you never even know it?
No,
not you. Okay.
I wish I was, though. I wish I could do that.
Yeah. You see them at the store. You'd never know who they were because they're not the face of the song.
Right. It'd be so nice to be like that talented and that have that wealth, but then nobody ever know.
Right. You can go to the store and no one would know. But like if Tim McGraw went to the store, everyone would just be all over him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Let's hop right into it. So you're very open about your son Parker's story. So I'm just going to kind of let you walk us through that. Tell us a little bit about Parker. Was he an active kid? Let's learn about him first. So what was he like? What was he interested in? You said he was 15, right?
He was 15.
Yeah, tell us about him.
Now, a quick shout out to our sponsors.
If you're looking to buy or sell, I have the perfect realty company for you. Clark & Co. Realty is located in the Benton, Bryant, Arkansas area, and they understand that buying or selling a home is more than just a transaction. It's a life-changing experience. That's why their team of highly seasoned real estate professionals is dedicated to providing exceptional, personalized services for all their clients. They truly take great pride in the relationships they build, and they always work relentlessly on the client's behalf to help them achieve their perfect real estate goals. They always have the client in mind, and I can speak firsthand when I say how reliable, trustworthy, and quick they were. When I was looking to buy my first home, they were there with me every step of the way, answering every question I could think of. They showed me a great amount of knowledge and patience through the process. It's no wonder they've won so many awards for their outstanding services and their excellent relationships with clients. So if you're looking to buy or sell, there is no better option than Clark & Co. Realty.
He was a typical 15-year-old boy, like moody and
smelled like gym socks.
Yes, like clean your room, please. No, Mom, it's clean. And no, it's not. Just, he didn't want to do anything. Like he's too cool to hang out with mom anymore. He can't go to the store with me. Somebody might see him. Uh, but then he also had those moments where he's still like he'd come in and lay his head on my lap on the couch, and you couldn't point it out because the minute he pointed it out, it was like over.
Yeah. He's like,
Oh,
Mom, come
no.
on.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. He was just a happy kid. He was relatively healthy, and he loved music. He'd really gotten into music in the past year or two. I remember at the end of the school year last year, he was when the beef between Kendrick and Drake had happened.
Yeah.
And I would pick him up from school, and every day he'd be like, Mom, did you hear what dropped today? And
That's
he'd play it for
so
me on the radio. And I'd be like, oh, Parker.
I
But,
love
it'll be a young and be a kid again and be into all that stuff.
your biggest
Um,
concerns are that the beef on the
yeah,
radio. I love it.
yeah, yeah. That's all you have to worry about.
Was he into sports? Was he into playing music? Was he into gaming?
He was into gaming. He did
Yeah.
game a lot. Actually, I had somebody reach out to me not too long ago asking me if I had logged into Parker's Xbox to let the people that he gamed with know. And I was like, no, I hadn't. I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah.
And then I saw there was like a documentary about it too, where parents learned so much more about their kid after they had passed by logging into their gaming and talking to their friends that they didn't even know that they had. So I told him I would do that. So I have not done that yet, but I'm going to do that.
Oh, I'd be so interested. You should post about that. I'd be really interested to hear about that.
Yeah, I will. But he tried some sports, growing up, soccer. He is okay at it. He didn't really ever want to commit to it. I couldn't, he wanted to be on the team, but he didn't want to go to practice.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to run, but like I want to hang out with these kids.
The last sport he played was track. And he did that in middle school in 8th grade. And I ran track in high school, so I felt like he was like, okay, I'll give it a go. He was pulling teeth to get him to go to practice. He didn't want to go to the meets. It was like we were forcing him to go to the meets. He didn't do great. He didn't try. He didn't exert himself any. He was just like, I'm gonna go run, see what happens.
That's so
like,
funny.
Okay.
Yeah, so he sounds like a 15-year-old boy.
Yeah, he was your typical 15-year-old kid.
Yeah. You've posted videos, and like I said, I found your story on social media. You post videos of him being goofy, walking around, got his long, shaggy hair, and just being a kid. So tell us a little bit about his story. Walk us through that, because you're really big on Dupixent. What in the world is it? What is that for?
Dupixent is a biologic drug that is used to treat. It can treat asthma, it can treat eczema, it can treat EOE, which is what Parker was mainly taking it for, which is eosinophilic esophagitis. It's a buildup of eosinophils in your esophagus and can cause you to have trouble swallowing, trouble eating, a lot of acid reflux. And Parker's story with EOE started when he was actually 4 years old. He would wake up in the middle of the night choking, and we couldn't figure out why. And we were in and out of Vanderbilt Children's Hospital, trying to let them figure out what was going on. They finally figured out it was EOE. They put him on a PPI, proton pump inhibitor. I think he was on Prevacid for years to help keep his acid reflux down and help keep his esophagus healthy. And he kind of grew out of it and didn't really need the PPI anymore. And he was doing okay. But when he turned 15, he started complaining again about having trouble swallowing his food. So we were like, okay, well, we'll go check with your gastro doctor and see what they think. He had a scope, and they said, yeah, his EOE had returned. And so they wanted to put him on medication. We talked it over with Parker and his doctor, and she was like, you can go back on the Prevacid, the omeprazole, like, a PPI like you were before, but we're also going to suggest that you take a daily steroid that you'll have to swallow along with that. And Parker, even though he was 15, he still would not even swallow a Tylenol. Like he said he couldn't do it. If he got sick and got a fever, I had to go out and buy bottles of children's Tylenol or children's Motrin and the chewable tablets.
Yeah.
That's all he would take. So when she told Parker that, she said that we do have the new drug Dupixent that we could try. And we were like, well, what does that involve? And she said, it's a once weekly injection and that's it. And Parker was like, I want that.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, if that's what you want, that's what we're going to do. It sounded easy. It sounded like it was supposed to help his EOE, but because of the drug, the way it works, it can also help. Parker had eczema and asthma. So it could help those two things as well. We were like, wonder drug.
Yeah.
Help the three things he has the most problems with. That was in April 24th is when he had his scope. In May, we talked with the pharmacist about the drug. Like I had to get on a phone call with her, and it was like a 20-minute phone call of different reactions that could happen, like site reaction from the injection and conjunctivitis in the eyes, just I guess typical reactions.
Yeah.
And we had to go into the doctor's office for the first injection. I administered it with the nurse watching me. And everything went okay. We waited about 15 or 20 minutes to make sure Parker didn't have a reaction, and everything was fine. And we went home.
Yeah. And
then a week later, because you get it once a week, I gave him the second injection here at the house. It's painful. He didn't like how painful it was, but he's 15-year-old. He's like, oh, I'm strong. I can be fine. He did good with it. And that was, gosh, I don't even remember now. It might have been May 31st. I can't remember what that Friday was. And then that Sunday night, after that second injection is when he started complaining that his chest was hurting him.
Okay.
And Parker had really gotten into weightlifting, and we had gotten him a whole gym set, and it was in the garage, and he would go out there and he'd lift weights. So we thought, you probably pulled something out there lifting weights. You were lifting too much. And he was like, I don't know, we were like, we'll just see how you feel tomorrow. Right. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Glenn and I were working. Parker was out of school. So he was home alone during the day. We come home in the night and he'd be like, oh, a little better today, or, oh, I don't feel so great today, kind of depending on the day, but not anything worrisome yet until Wednesday. Wednesday, I came home from work and I'd worked late, so I didn't get home till 7:30. Nashville traffic is horrific. Mm-hmm. And he came and laid his head on my lap as soon as I got home, and he was like, yeah, I'm having all this shortness of breath. And I was like, oh. He's like, yeah, my chest still hurts too. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, why don't we go to the walk-in clinic and see what they say. So we left and we went to the walk-in clinic. We got there. They closed at 9. We got there right before they closed. Mm-hmm. And the doctor was really, really nice and helpful. And she was like, I don't see anything wrong. She said, but with his symptoms, I don't feel comfortable sending him home. I would rather you guys go to the ER. So we were like, okay, straight to Nashville. So we got to Nashville like at 10:30, 11 o'clock, I think. We were in the waiting room until like 2 a.m. Yeah. And they did an EKG. They did an X-ray. They asked him about his symptoms. We found out then that he had also, Wednesday morning, he said he woke up really dizzy and his stomach hurt really bad. And he laid in the floor of the bathroom for a little while until he felt better, and then got up and, had his breakfast. I said Wednesday morning. Now, Parker didn't wake up till like 1 p.m. in the summer. So
remember, he's 15. Yeah.
Yeah. They were like, why don't we just send the EKG looks good. The X-ray, they said it looks a little hazy, but Parker has asthma and they didn't think that there was anything to that. So we're going to send you home with some Tylenol for the pain and get you a referral to a cardiologist. Mm-hmm. So we were like, okay. So we got home about 3:30 in the morning. Parker went to bed. We went to bed. I got up. The next day I was babysitting my grandson. My husband went to work. Both of my daughters came over that morning. Parker again slept till like 1 o'clock and got up, said he wasn't feeling great, but he was, I guess, used to it at that point. I guess you would say.
A week straight.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, the cardiologist called and we scheduled the cardiology appointment for the following Thursday. So a week from the Thursday that we were at. And I was like, hey, this was like maybe 6:30. I was like, hey, I'm going to go pick up some dinner. And he was like, okay. I said, do you want to go with me? No, I'm tired. I'm just going to lay down. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. So I left. I went to Walmart and picked up some more children's Tylenol for him. And then went to Chick-fil-A because that was his favorite. and brought it home, came in and immediately sat it on the counter and went straight to his room to tell him I was here with dinner. And I mean, if you watch the video, that's where everything just kind of spiraled out of just control with, him being unresponsive. He was just laying there. Like, I immediately started chest compressions. So after I called 911, because I didn't, she was like, "Do you know CPR?" And I was like, "No, I don't." And at that moment, feeling like, "Oh my gosh, why have I not taken CPR before?" Like, you have this regret of, why did I not do this before in my life? I'm 40 something years old. I need to have done CPR, but I immediately started CPR on Parker. Color came back to his face, but I never got a heartbeat. Then the EMS showed up and they basically kicked us out of the house and had us go out front, and they worked on him for, it felt like an hour, but it was actually only 15, 20 minutes. They still never got his heart started. And they took him to the local ER by us. And there they were able to restart his heart. And then they life flighted him to Children's in Nashville. And from there, we spent 26 days in the PICU. He never gained consciousness. His heart was beating. They eventually, over the course of about 2 weeks, got his heart function back to what a normal person's heart function is. But I think because we don't know how long he was out before I found him, his lungs had just deteriorated to where they couldn't repair themselves. Like, he just kept having lung problems with, like, throwing blood clot. Well, he did throw a blood clot in his arm. He threw a blood clot in his leg. He had pneumothoraxes, and they had to put chest tubes. They did one chest tube here, and then they're like, "Oh, he needs one over here." Then they did another one over here, and then he ended up having 4 chest tubes. They put him on ECMO, which I don't know if you know what ECMO is.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's basically life support. They have 2 types of ECMO. One is where they bypass your heart, and the other is where they bypass your heart or bypass your lungs. They bypassed Parker's lungs, trying to allow them to heal. But that never happened. And eventually it got to a point where they were giving him so much blood because he was losing so much blood, but they could not stop the heparin that he was on because of the ECMO machine that he was on that was passing through all his blood. So it was just they couldn't keep up with his body's needs. So it ended on July 2nd.
So fast.
Yeah. Well, fast, but that was 26 days.
Oh, well, yeah.
So long too.
Well, I mean, more so, I guess just the initial, just you left and then you came back and it was gone. So maybe his lungs collapsing type thing.
His lungs did collapse.
Holding air. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
They couldn't. Gosh. It was like a struggle every day. It was like, okay, what are we going to go through today? Every day it was something new. It was just, it was a lot. I don't know how the nurses and doctors do it in the PICU. I don't know how they do it. They're way stronger than me.
Special people. I believe there's a special place for people like teachers and doctors and nurses. Ooh, man.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
Yeah.
So they're thinking this was a side effect of Dupixent.
Yeah.
Well, ended up being what they,
So we mentioned it while he was in the PICU that he had just started Dupixent, and they were like, "No, we don't, that's not a typical side effect of Dupixent. We don't think that that's linked." But after the fact, we had a medical specialist, a pediatric cardiologist in Arkansas, actually.
Okay.
He looked through all of Parker's medical records, and he said that that's what it was. It was eosinophilic myocarditis caused by the drug Dupixent, which is a known side effect of Dupixent.
Wow. Yeah. And so you talked about talking with the pharmacist for 15, 20 minutes about all the possible side effects. Was this mentioned at all?
No. And the funny thing was, I took notes. I didn't record that call, but I took notes during it just because I wanted to make sure everything that she said that I understood and that I could relay it to Glenn, my husband. So I even went back after the fact and looked at my notes, and there was nothing in it like, "Oh, by the way, this is could cause myocarditis in some cases.
Right. Or at least be aware of like the symptoms that may be leading up to that. Wow,
Right.
goodness.
Yeah.
So we were going to talk about like red flags with this medication. I guess that would be like his chest pain and kind of shortness of breath. That
Chest
was all.
pain, shortness of breath. I mean, and if you read about myocarditis, it can happen just over the course of a couple days. Like it can, there's times where it doesn't, but there's times where it can. And then unfortunately, in Parker's case, it did. It just happened very rapidly.
That's
And the
wow.
cardiologist did say that even if the ER had caught it and realized that's what was happening, that he felt that Parker was just too far at that point, that it wouldn't have mattered.
And that was only, you said like 2 shots in?
He'd say,
Goodness gracious. Holy
yeah.
moly. So the other medication, so Dupixent, we opted for the shot because he didn't like swallowing pills. But outside, for people listening that are like, oh my goodness, I take Dupixent, or my doctor has recommended that, you can still stick with the pills to swallow, right? So there's options.
I mean, so Dupixent is only offered as an injection. So there's other
Right.
things that you can do if you decide you don't want to do Dupixent. I know I have had many people reach out to me
Yeah.
scared because they're on Dupixent,
Yeah.
or, I've been on it for, somebody will say, I've been on it for years. And I tell everyone the same thing. I realize that there are many people that the drug has helped. My only thing is they need to tell you all the side effects
Yeah.
before you start it. And then advocate for yourself. If you have any questions, if you see my videos and you're like, oh my gosh, talk to your doctor, talk to your pharmacist, ask them about it, let them tell you what's going on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not a medical professional. I just, I've had mothers reach out to me who are like, oh, they're talking about this drug for my son, and I talked to them about it and decided not to put him on it. And I'm like, even if it saves one life,
That's right.
that's the only reason I said anything about it.
Yeah. You're not a medical provider, but you're an advocate. I mean,
Right.
you're letting people know this medication, like you said, the chances of it doing what it did to your son are probably incredibly minuscule. However, people need to be aware and they need to know what to look out for. Because I'd be the same
Yeah.
way. You thinking, putting myself in your shoes, I'd be the same way. Well, my heart hurts a little bit. I'm having a little shortness of breath. I'd be like, okay, let's sleep on it. We schedule, like you did everything I would have thought of. Let's schedule an
Yeah.
appointment. Let's talk to the, you took him to the clinic, like
Hmm.
everything. And so I think it is important just to talk about this is what could happen and to be very aware of certain side effects or red flags that you may notice.
I
So,
think we're all guilty of, the doctor gives you a medication and you just
yeah.
take it. Like you look at,
Oh,
like I've done it. You go to take the medicine and you get this big pamphlet of information that comes with it, and you're like, shoot,
trash. Yeah.
yes.
I mean, they're 30 pages long and the font
Right.
is size
And
like
it's
one.
so tiny and it's like
Yes.
light gray. It's not even black. They don't
Yeah.
even make it easy to read.
Yeah, yeah. Even Tylenol. I mean, even Tylenol's got all these side effects and all these. Absolutely. I'm guilty of that a
Right.
million percent.
Yeah.
So going back to Dupixent is the shot, but people can talk to the doctors about having another option. There may be pills they can swallow. There may be options outside of that. Outside of that little bit of asthma, the little bit of stuff he had with swallowing,
Hmm.
Parker was a pretty healthy kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He did what he wanted to do. He was out there living life and loved life. He loved it.
Yeah.
I think he did more living in his 15 years than I've done.
Well, that
It's
says
just,
a lot. I love it.
yeah, yeah.
Now
He's
you
a great
have
kid.
there are 2 or 3 older sisters.
So he has two older sisters and one older brother, but
Okay.
they're adults and they're out of the house. So he was the only baby at home. I
So
say
he was
baby,
spoiled
but
rotten.
he was, yeah. He
Yeah.
was like living like an only child.
I love it. I love it. Well, that's how he should have been treated like a king. That's it. So, what do you, like I said earlier, you've been very open about his story. You've even shared the video. People can find the video from your house from that moment, which is
Yeah,
just made my heart stop, honestly. What do you want people to take away from Parker's story?
not take anything for granted. You
Ooh,
just don't know. You just do not, you never know. It's easy. It's so strange because you've heard it all your life. It's very cliche, like don't take life for granted. It can change in an instant, but it really is true. You never know how much time you have with someone. That last time I spoke to him standing in my bathroom, that was it. that was the last time I spoke to my son. Well, I say that the last time he spoke back. We had 26 days where
Yeah.
we spoke to him every day, but hopefully he heard. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure he did in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
Absolutely. He knew he loved you, that y'all loved him and that he was a loved guy. I'm certain of
I
that.
think so. I
Yeah.
think so.
Oh, there's no thinking. Come on now. He knew
Yeah,
it.
I know.
He
I
knew
know.
it.
I know.
He was wrapped in love. That is wonderful. I always like to ask, since all of this, that's not been long ago at all, you and
Right.
Glenn and the siblings, how are you navigating your way through this?
It's been difficult. No,
Yeah.
not gonna lie. For the first probably month, 2 month, 3 months, we were numb. We were just
Yeah.
like, it was like just getting up out of the bed and through the day was work. Our daughters, both of them have struggled with their mental health since.
Mhm.
A lot of health anxiety. My husband has a lot of health anxiety. He had it prior to our son passing because he lost his dad to a heart attack when his dad was
No
younger.
kidding.
So he's struggling with his mental health. I did for a little while. I think I'm doing okay now. I really think that putting Parker's story out there helps me like
Yeah.
that. It's the only reason I started doing it was just I'm going to put these little snippets of Parker out there and let Parker know, because that was me and Parker's love language. Was he would send me TikToks and I would send him
Yeah.
TikToks back and forth, and he would be jealous now and also embarrassed
Yeah, I
by
was
all
gonna
the
say,
attention.
yeah, especially you talk about putting his head on your lap. Come on, mom.
Yeah, yeah. I think actually, I don't know if I posted that, but on his one day, I think it was his birthday, in 24, his last birthday, he came and he kind of sat in my lap and I whipped my camera out and videoed him. And I was like, oh,
That's
and then he got up. But, it's little things like that I'm glad now I have those videos of.
not right. Isn't that right? Absolutely.
And video them even though they don't want you to.
Boy, isn't that right?
Yeah.
I have two nieces that are just like, oh my God, no more pictures. I'm like, too bad. Too bad.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you'll
Yeah.
be older and it'll be different. And
Yeah.
where have you, I can only imagine the navigating through all of this and trying to find a new normal. Where have you found the most support through all of this?
My husband.
Yeah.
We have really leaned on each other through it all. They tell you that, when you're married and you lose a child, that the chances aren't good that you're going to stay together.
That's right.
So it's a process and you have to work through it, and you have to realize that you're both going to grieve differently. Nobody grieves the same way. And that's, even though we're married, we're both at different parts of everything all the time. Like, I might be feeling okay one day and he's not feeling good that day. And you kind of just have to, you understand because you're both going through the same thing. And it's easy to just, I can see where it would be easy just to walk away, but you just have to buckle down and be like, we got each other's back. So it's been him and my daughters. My daughters are amazing. They're amazing girls. They even spoke at Parker's funeral, which I was amazed at because
Wow.
I could not have imagined.
Wow.
I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they got through it, but, and then I have two grandbabies that, kind of
Oh,
feel a little bit of love and warmth and get that ooey gooey feeling from.
just smell their heads. That little baby
Yes.
smell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it so
And
much.
Briar, our oldest grandson, he was 2.5. Parker passed, but he'd come over to the house, and as soon as he got over here, he'd be yelling, Parker.
Oh,
And he did that for a little while after,
oh
and he
gosh.
stopped. And now he does ask us where Parker is. We had dinner with him last night, and my husband was showing him videos of some monster truck rallies that he and Parker used to go to. And Briar was like, where's Parker?
Wow.
And my husband was like, he's in your heart. He lives in your heart, Briar. Briar's 3. And he was like, did I swallow him?
I love it. I love it.
He's so sweet, so sweet.
Yeah.
But we just try to tell him, Parker's always wherever you want him to be is where he's at. You just got to remember him.
Wow. How kind of humbling for him to come in and still be asking about him,
I know. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
he does. It's so sweet though. He'll even right after Parker passed, Lainey, our daughter, would send us videos or pictures of Briar, and he'd hear these wind chimes. I gave her a set of wind chimes that somebody had got us from the funeral, and she hung them outside, and they would blow, and Briar would say, "That's." I know. I
Oh
know.
God, I'm gonna cry
It's
on a
so sweet.
podcast. Good
No,
Lord, goodness gracious.
it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, basically all these stories make me want to cry, either from sadness or happiness or all the above. You have been very open about Parker's story, and again, that's how I learned about you, was that little blurb video you posted of the actual incident, the video from inside your home, and that's where I was like, this absolutely is a story that I feel like is worth sharing. So I just want to commend you and thank you for not only sharing the story, sharing awareness, letting people know, hey, this is a side effect, but carrying on Parker's legacy. I mean, how cool to get to carry on his name and his story, and so many people showing interest in it.
Yeah, that's our favorite part is, making sure he lives on. His
Absolutely.
so one of Parker's things that he wanted to do when he graduated high school was go visit all the national parks. Yeah, he had visited three, Everglades, Smokies, and oh, what was the third one, Glenn? I can't remember. Anyway, so we have made it our goal now since he's passed to visit all of them in his name. So
I
we
love
visited Death
that.
Valley last November, and then we visited Mammoth Cave on his birthday this past year. So, we made a dent. We've got a lot to go.
Yeah, 5 out of like,
There's
I
63.
was literally gonna say, I feel like there's 58 or 63. 63.
Yeah,
Hey, you're close.
63.
It's gonna
Hey,
get close.
we're gonna get there.
That is, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. What a cool way to remember Parker and carry on his
Oh
story.
yeah. Yeah, because he knows mom wouldn't have done it, but mom wouldn't
Yeah,
have done
right.
it.
Yeah, mom was
Mom would
born.
have Mom was like, you and dad go do that stuff. I don't
That's
want to do it.
so
But
funny. It kind
yeah,
of awakened a little adventurous side of you, huh?
we did. It
Oh,
it
cool.
made me and my husband say live like Parker. Like we want to live more
Yeah,
like Parker. We want to do the things that he didn't get to do.
I love it. Oh, I love that
Yeah.
so much. Absolutely. Live life. Like you said, even when you tell yourself not to take things for granted, we do. We're human. We do.
We do. Yeah.
And what a terrible but huge eye-opening experience to make you not take life for granted. Yeah,
Right.
go visit them all.
Yeah.
Jess, thank you so much for not only hopping on, but for sharing Parker's story and for being so vulnerable and so open. I know nothing about that is easy, but I really do appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me and for helping spread Parker's story.
Yeah, it is such a pleasure. It is such a pleasure. Okay, so listeners, you know how this goes. If you want to see this interview on video, be sure to go over, like, and subscribe to our YouTube. It's Townsend TMusic YouTube. You can watch all of these interviews. Also, if we're going to keep chatting, I'm going to get to know Jess on a personal basis. If you want to see those, hop over to patreon.com/TownsendTmusic. That's actually how we get the support and the way to continue this project and this podcast. So hop over there for the extra questions. If not, we'll see you next time.
If you'd like to hear the rest of this interview, visit patreon.com/TownsendTmusic. And don't forget, you can also watch the interviews on our YouTube channel at TownsendTmusic YouTube.